I've been through two major identity collapses in my life. The first one was when I wanted to be a black belt world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I sacrificed years believing that it would be what would provide me purpose and self-worth. Unfortunately, I was met only with the realization that it was not what I needed. The second time around was when I opened my own BJJ Academy. And I thought that if I had a vast number of students under my wing, then maybe this version will provide me that validation I'm seeking and to show me that I have purpose. Pretty sure you understand where the story is going to end. I inevitably plunged into my second identity collapse, heavier than the first one. And when I came out of it, I realized the deeper truth about not just me, but the meaning of purpose. There's a lot of terminology out there about what purpose is, how to find purpose. And, as I was doing my research, I wanted to find something that I haven't really heard much before, not really perhaps touched upon, and also reflecting on my own life and how I perceived purpose and the lessons I learned from those identity collapses that I went through. So the first thing is, what is the meaning of purpose? Well, it's a desire grown from the ever-present feeling of our history. What that means is purpose is this act that is going to provide us with the satisfaction and the need that we matter, that we're important, that we're not just a waste of space. In an ironic way, it is almost like the idea of purpose itself assumes that there is something missing that you need to find, which is why you ever notice that when people describe purpose, it is an external chase. It is outside themselves, locked inside of an activity, some task, some skill, that if only they find, then that's it. It answers all their questions and it satisfies all their needs. But I'm pretty sure, just from your own personal experience and from just witnessing and observing the world, you realize that that's not always the case. What often happens is that we just keep chasing a lie. And you cannot outrun a lie. Because as you move closer towards the illusion of purpose, then what ends up happening is it's a mirage. And it just keeps moving farther and farther, always at the horizon. And no matter how far you move towards it, nothing ever changes. There's two forms of purpose. There's purpose for wound, and there's purpose for freedom. Purpose for wound is, I'm not good enough, therefore, I need to do something that proves the opposite. And so my purpose would be to become a rock star, celebrity, a people pleaser to the community. It is derived from a pain from our past, our upbringing, from our childhood, depending on how things formulated and the relationships you've had, creates those complexes, creates wounds. And I'll explain in the next section. Inside of I actually created a graphic. For those who watch my channel, I'm going to be displaying that graphic for you guys. I'm really excited. It's going to be provided inside of my Sovereign Brotherhood community, which click the link below and read about it and join the waitlist, which will actually go into more descriptive detail about what is actually going on and where these wounds manifest and how they contribute to our actions today. But fundamentally, purpose for wound is seeking validation for your existence through the filter of your pain. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not fast enough, strong enough. And so purpose is now born from that place. What is purpose for freedom, though? Purpose for freedom is actually what I would consider a fundamental mission that everybody could embark on. But it is also it is also ironically the most opposite act of purpose. I'll try my best to explain it. So purpose of freedom is dissolving the idea that there is something wrong. Now, this doesn't mean that if you're lacking in finances, you're lacking in physical health, that you say, oh, there's nothing wrong. No, that's not what I mean. Inside of my inner trinity, outer trinity, where it's head, heart, and soul, decree, vessel, and presence, I talk about how the masculine, once in alignment and once it tries to find harmony in each one of those chambers, will provide you a more robust and fruitful and uplifting life. It's important. But I'm talking at the most deepest irrational level. When you are 5 years old, when you're 4 years old, what is it that you're wanting to be met with? Fundamentally, at the base. And this is what is missed with men a lot. At the base, what you want to be told is that you have inherent value. That no matter what you do, no matter how many times you fail, whether you're successful, typical, when I say typical normal, that's not a downgrade, that's not. It is simply, like, it just is what it is. But when you're at that age, around that age, growing up, that's not, you don't need to make money. You just need to be looked at by your parental figures, by your mother, by your father, whoever was your authority, and to just be told, listen, kiddo, you right now do not need to be anything. You can just exist. And I will love you unconditionally. And I will see every part of you, and I will not reject any part that you reveal to me. And I will not make you dependent on me. I will feed you that love so that you can then experience that emotion and keep it for yourself so that it's your power. But we're human. Generational trauma, those desires, what parents feed and how we react to one another is distorted. And once it gets distorted, it affects everything. And so purpose for freedom is the original act, the original mission. To dissolve the premise that you need purpose to feel validated, to feel worthy. And so your purpose is to remove the belief that you need purpose to begin with, because it is that idea that will perpetually have you feel you're missing something endlessly. And in the next portion now, I'm going to wipe this all off, and then I'm going to get into those core pillars. This way you can really get a visual of what I'm talking about. And here we are with this framework. So very quickly, very bottom, the S. The S is the self. It is the deepest part of you, at the very base of your existence, one that is interconnected with God and the universe, all mixed together. It is if I peel off your skin, your bones and everything and be left with the light, the spark that is now keeping you awake, right here in front of me, that. And what is its goal? What does it do? What does it want? What does God and the universe naturally do? It expresses. The base of who you are is expression, neither inherently good nor bad, which is the very first thing we need to contend with. Often in religious upbringing, it's the narrative that there are those who are born good, born bad. Or, this one is also a sneaky one. It had good intentions, but it actually causes a lot of damage, is saying we are born inherently good. If we have that belief, let's say, we're born inherently good, what is the honest reality of that? You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have like crazy fantasies, violent thoughts, lustful thoughts. You're gonna behave terribly. And what is that doing now? The idea you were given was that if you are inherently good, then if you're born inherently good, there must be something so fundamentally wrong with you to have all these things be a part of your inner psyche. And which is why people go through suppression and denial and distortion to fit and meet this mold based on an idea. And so my idea to you is, at the base level, you are nothing but potential impermanence. The act of just doing, wanting to express and live. There are days you want to express anger. There are days you want to express love. There are days you want to be selfish and selfless. And of course, we try to always aim high, not succumbing to our anger and our vengeance and our frustration, of course. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It just is what it is. We're human beings. We live with it. So if you remove the illusion that there is something inherently good or inherently bad and simply see yourself as a being to express, then what that does, it's a light. That light passes through the three core desires, which is the prism. The light that passes through the prism, and on the other side, you get color. As this light passes through, you have three core desires, which are, do I matter? Am I seen? And do I have agency? The foundation being, do I matter? Am I worthy? Am I acceptable? And what happens based on our upbringing, these become distorted. Something distorts them. Maybe a parent, a sibling, whatever is your unique background. If you were made to feel that you do not matter because perhaps you're not smart enough, or it's conditional, meet my expectations and I will grant you attention, affection, and love. Then what does this do now? What idea does this formulate in you? It is the warped idea that your life is conditional. Your worth is conditional. And that is a very big thing pushed in the masculine sphere. Because based on how people react, and it is unfortunate that exists, that men are conditional. But it is just, I believe, such a deeply held idea that we don't even know we're in it, and we just accept it at face value 100%. But no, I want to absolutely challenge that premise. At the base level, if you don't believe you matter, guess what? Moving up to the next chamber, am I seen? Well, what that means is you are going to want to be seen based on what makes you matter to those around you. Then you have to change how you think, change how you move, pursue certain things, adopt certain ideas that then will have people who are around you who have kind of unconsciously formulated this persona that you have also developed yourself. And now you say, oh, I'm seen if I do this. I'm seen this way if I act a certain way. And then also it's inverted. You will then look inwardly and say, well, I don't want to see this part of myself because that breaks and contradicts the idea, the original idea that I'm trying to either run from, defend. And so if you now internally go, well, there's certain parts I don't want to see. Now it is now creating suppression, resistance. There is now bad and there is good, which is all wasted energy. You're draining your life for nothing. And so if you move to the next final chamber, do I have agency? You've lost your agency. You no longer have genuine conscious decisions internally because you are controlled by the idea. You have usurped yourself from the throne, which is the soul. Living in the soul is where I believe that if you rest and inhabit, your heart will function more effectively and your mind will function more effectively. Moving from the bottom up. But when you usurp, you hand it off to the world around you to then have them feed it to you, then you are endlessly chasing it and chasing it. It's a battery that will drain no matter what you have. And we've seen it. And I've seen it myself. No matter how many medals I've won, it didn't matter. And it was frustrating. I didn't get it. No matter how many students I had on the mat, it didn't matter. And in fact, it created anxiety. The fear that it will leave, the fear that I will lose it. And if I lose it, I'm back to being what I am, which is not good enough. And finally, look at the final stage, which is your identity. So in my videos, when I say your identity must die, I'm talking about the identity that was born from a distorted, muddied prism. We are living in an illusion. So what do you do to move forward? Because If you do not own the wound will own you. You must meet yourself. I'm running out of frickin'. That's why your identity collapse is absolutely essential, because it returns you back, brings you back to who you are. You have to meet yourself again. That's what's so tragic, painful, but also beautiful about an identity collapse. Because it'll break this fractures when you realize it's all been an illusion for the most part. There's truth, of course. It's not 100%, but a big portion, or at least portions of our life are. And so what does this do? Breaks, what? Drops us right back down to meet our souls, to meet our child, our inner child, to then rebuild back up, which is why when people go through collapse, they're often in this cycle, thinking about, do I matter? Am I seen? Do I have agency? Not in those terminology, in that language. You'll use your own language for it. And then naturally, because men were not really shown how to handle this, then it just brings you back down. Your ego then tries to find a different way to remedy the do I matter? So it won't be for money anymore. You'll say, no, it wasn't money. What my purpose actually is to do this. And so then you rebuild back up into another false identity. And you're just doing this cycle over and over and over again. So you have to meet yourself at your core desires and realize ultimately at the end of the day, you have inherent value. You do, at the deepest level you do. Your only purpose in life is to express from a more as clean of a prism as possible. That is your fundamental purpose, the purpose of no purpose. Which then, if you can meet yourself here, give yourself the love, give yourself that container, the space to meet and see everything of yourself. Admit to your evil. Admit to your good. Admit to your divine. Hold all of it together. Pay attention to them so that they do not run amok and that you do not become delusional. Once these become more clean, doesn't mean they can't get dirty again, but once they become more clean, as you move up, you now form a different style of identity. It is different. It is almost like you have an identity, but at the same time, you are not bound to it. You're not attached to it. You're not desperate to defend it. So when people criticize you, when before it hit that identity and it would plunge you into that original wound, you would flare until you got to back off. Excuse me. Until you got to back off, or you maybe retreat, freak out, whatever. But this time, it'll meet you here and you'll realize, wait a minute, I don't really give a shit what you say. I have inherent value. If you're criticizing my skills in something, fine, I can attend to that. That's an external thing. And gentlemen, if this is resonating with you and you want to get to the point where you can remedy, cleanse, dissolve the illusion so that you can actually finally function from a place of freedom and genuine self-power, inner peace and certainty. And not certainty that you know what's going to happen. Certainty that you know that no matter what happens, I will always meet myself. And that will never change. It will provide you a comfort that is unimaginable. And if you want my entire system completely for free, I'm giving it away inside of my community. I'm launching it on July 11th on School. And so sign up to that waitlist. We'll be doing weekly gatherings every Sunday to meet and chat and communicate, and I will help you. And then inside that community, those I want to have the more expedited, more intensive mentorships, you have access to me there. And it would be my absolute pleasure to meet you boys and to help bring power back into your own life. Thank you very much. See you guys in the next video.